Hey guys, Dave with First Place Auto Parts. I'm out in my shop today in the First Place Auto Parts shop, and I got to thinking, being car guys, and I'm definitely one of those guys, I have a few more toys besides my old classic car, and I bet you do too as well. And in today's video, what we're going to do is we're going to take a walk around two of the other toys that I have, and they're projects, continual projects in my shop that never cease to end. Look, I still have my 56 Chevrolet Gasser. I've owned that car for over 15 years, and I'm continually updating it and modifying it with parts from First Place Auto Parts, and I make videos from that so you get to learn about the parts and how to put them on. But in today's video, what we're going to do is we're going to sidestep cars for a little bit and take a look at some of the other projects that are in my shop. And please, if you have some other shop projects that you have going on, let me know what they are in the comments section because I'm interested. Look, as car guys, we love things that burn gas. Both these toys burn gas, so stay tuned and let's take a look at what's in my shop. Hey guys, if you like today's video, please consider subscribing to the First Place Auto Parts YouTube channel. We're going to continually be adding new videos every week, and we go to some pretty cool car guy stuff I'm pretty sure you're going to want to see. Now, I've been riding dirt bikes since I was 8 years old. I'm now 55, so that's a long time. I've also injured myself a lot, and recently I segued, if you will, into these Polaris RZRs. Look, these side-by-sides used to really upset me when I used to ride behind them because they always went so slow and tore up the trails. After one ride in these things, I realized how capable they are. This thing has over 13 inches of travel. This particular Polaris RZR, it's the turbocharged version, which means it makes over 140 horsepower and it's four-wheel drive. This is a 2016 version of the RZR. It has relatively low miles and hours, but it's been heavily modified. Modifications such as upgraded lower control arms, upgraded axle shafts, and also an ABF cage. Now, ABF is really big in the UTV market or the side-by-side market, and this thing has been run through their catalogs. It has their doors, their full doors, the full cage, and also front and rear bumpers along with a front winch for when this thing needs to be hiked out as something that it can't climb. Look, these things weigh somewhere around 1,200 pounds. They're not exactly light, and the trailer I had to get to actually fit this thing on was much larger than the one I needed for my dirt bikes. But this thing is so cool and so fast. Look, this thing mimics cars in a lot of different ways. It's a two-cylinder four-stroke, and it has a CVT transmission. Okay, it's kind of like what some of your cars have nowadays, and it's operated by a belt, similar to how a snowmobile works. But these things are a riot to drive. And in North Georgia, where we're at the foothills of the mountains, there's a lot of crazy hills and mud that we go through that these things are incredibly capable. Also included on this one, it's the Fox suspension version. So it has the beefier shock absorbers and the remote reservoirs. But overall, this thing is well set up. Now, what I'm going to do with it, because I just recently got it, is I'm going to change the belt. I'm going to service the front and rear differential and transmission, and also change the engine oil to keep that turbocharger happy, and I'll replace the air cleaner with a higher flowing foam filter, similar to the one I used on my dirt bikes called a Twin Air. But overall, this thing is a riot to drive. It has a 5-point harness and racing seats inside, so when you're blasting through the woods or through the whoops at over 50 miles an hour, you're in there nice and tight. It's nice and safe as well. And if you've never ridden one of these things at night, guys, you really have to give it a shot because this thing's got a ton of LED lights. It lights up the trail, but riding it at nighttime is a totally different deal. The best thing is, I don't get beat up while I'm driving it. Look, it's not the same thing as riding a dirt bike. It never will be. But the reality is, this is a lot of fun. And if you've never had a chance or actually taken a chance, there's a lot of places that rent these things and off-road wise at these off-road parks, and you can experience it yourself. They're not inexpensive to get into, but they're a lot of fun, and they're a lot like a Jeep. If you ever see a stock Jeep, you won't see it stock for very long. The same thing with these Polaris RZRs, are infinitely modifiable. So this is the #1 item. I'm going to be doing some upgrades to this thing as we go along and some servicing for sure. I know I need front wheel bearings. Like I said, I'm going to service all the fluids and whatnot and put new brake pads on it as well. So maybe I'll do some videos on that. Let me know if you're interested in Polaris RZRs. We'll definitely do some videos on those if you are, but just let me know, okay guys? But Polaris RZR is more like a car than you could ever imagine, and man, are they fun off-road. And now the other project that I have going on at my shop simultaneously with the Polaris and the 56 Chevy Gasser and the C10 shop truck is my 1978 Honda CR250. Look, when I was 12 years old, there was no way I could reach the ground sitting on one of these things. These were really the front edge of long travel suspension. But what I did is I went to a Honda dealership and got the brochure, which I've held on for all these years. Look, man, I've always wanted one of these red rockets, and I finally got one. Now this one, when I got it, it was not in great shape. As a matter of fact, I don't know how it ran. The piston rocked so much in the cylinder that it wore grooves into it. Problem was, these had chrome cylinders in them and can't be bored, which means it was a complete engine rebuild, splitting the cases, and it had some broken teeth on some gears. And while I was in there, I rebuilt the rod and the crank with a new rod, new crank bearings, and also new piston and rings, and it had a new cylinder machined and pressed into the cylinder. This bike has been a labor of love, and it's one that I've wanted for oh so long. Next thing I have to do on this bike is I need to put some new rims on this thing, because both of these rims are bent and they're also cracked, which was very common for back in the day. Now, finding parts for these bikes, as old as this one is a real challenge. But I've been able to do it, and this is one of the better supported vintage bikes that I have found. I've owned a couple of different ones. When I said I was segueing away from dirt bikes, I didn't mean I was leaving it all together. Look, I'm still going to ride this bike. I'll probably do some vintage racing with it, but it's one that I've always wanted, and I'm sure you guys have a project that's in your garage or will be in your garage that you've had a similar experience with. This one is completely rebuilt and it's not for sale, but you know what? Go out and find your project and get started on it today. Guys, I hope you enjoyed seeing what's in my shop and what projects I'm working on besides my muscle car. Look, at First Place Auto Parts, we don't have parts yet for dirt bikes or Polarises, but someday we may. But we do have parts for the vehicles that you tow these things with. Whether it's a classic truck or a late model truck, we've got performance and upgrades for your vehicle at First Place Auto Parts that you can use to help make your car or truck go faster, look better, or restore it back to its former glory, kind of like what I'm doing back with this dirt bike. Guys, I hope you enjoyed this video, and until next time, keep the hammer down and keep it between the guardrails.